Okay, what you are about to watch is my feature video. In this feature video, I originally did it a few hours ago, and what took place was I left some of the details out, not on purpose. By now you should know how remote neural monitoring works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that video and just kind of add a couple of things throughout. My channel is not for kids. You'll see me cuss. Not as much in my newer videos. Not as much in my older videos. That's my more recent ones. And when I say more recent, I'm talking like within the last year. The cussing out a bit more. But like I said, a lot of the things that are associated, that you'll see that in a minute here, a lot of the things that are associated with last year have not even hit the internet yet. They're in storage. So, yeah. My channel's not for kids.
Okay, today is July 1st. This is my fourth attempt at making this video. I'm experiencing a lot of interference on the government's hand. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another approach to this. Part of the reason I'm in the video last night was because they had a tree, fried chicken in between the video, and a burning candle in the background. I got mad about that and deleted it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what type of interference I'm experiencing, and I'm also going to show you why. The reason that I'm introducing this video in the way that I am is because I'm not going to get to finish it. I'm not going to be able to finish my work with what's taking place. So I'll show you the spreadsheet first. This is the spreadsheet. The very first video is the one that you're watching now. The second video, what is game stalking? It's incomplete at the moment, but worst case scenario, I will screenshot it because I have it in the form of an outline. Let me see something. Yeah, I have it in the form of an outline. Originally, let me just say this. I'm going to take my shift like this. There's one without you have something to reference. There's a lot of detail in this. This is 36 pages. And like I said, I can't stress to you enough how much detail is in it. So this is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons why they were interfering. Here's the other reason why.
Okay, real quick.
UCC-1. This is the financial statement that you filed for the summer. In this.
Okay, real quick. Two things on those documents. The first one that I showed you is what is gang stalking. I never show on the actual document, how much detail is really in it. So I just want to show that real quick. Because what the computer generated over here on the left is nothing like what is really going on in this document. So I'm just going to scroll through it really quick. All this stuff that you see before the paragraph is like kind of pictures or either, some type of media, social media reference that I was planning on using when I touched on that part of the document. The font. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's noise. The font I'm relocating. The font is another one that they've been interfering with quite a bit. DSA. And it's weird because in this format, when I pull it up this way, it puts the periods behind one another and everything. The check marks says nothing, but I proofreaded those at some point because as I was going through proofreading, they were messing up the paragraph. Like they add a word or throw a word off, they misspell a word or change the punctuation. And the other thing is, like, when you read this, I'm capable of knowing how others are perceiving a situation. So if you read this, if some of you read this, it's not going to make sense to you. You need to hear me read it and hear how the change in my tone and, the fluctuation in my tone makes these sentences, go together. It has to be read a certain way. For example, if you read it right through as a monotone, like it's not going to make any sense. Or it would to someone who's educated and looking without bias or listening without bias, but that's just not the case. I am so unsatisfied with the way that this, I just moved it from my phone onto the laptop. So my phone doesn't appear in a way. Matter of fact, I should show you. Okay, so I think you get the point. About this document. Today I'm doing the final edit on it. So I'll be making the final edit today. The problem is, I talk about psychiatrists, a co-work profession, and I have notes, I have pictures in the form of, I believe I created it as a screenshot because I was taking it I had my camera plugged into the computer at the time. So anyhow, those are the type of things that you would like to see alongside this, so you can see how wrongfully and in ill manner and covertly, I guess, not even covertly, that's not the word, how maliciously they write these notes on your records to purposefully sabotage you. This other form, none of my forms, none of what you're looking at is for copying. These are not for you to replicate. These are not for you to attempt to use in any way, shape, or form. This one right here, for example, this is not even the UCC-1 for the current one for the state of Ohio. The current one for the state of Ohio has 3 pages. For some reason or another, this is the only one that's coming up. So when I downloaded that form, I ended up having to download this one too. So what you see me filling in, I'm actually going to end up having to move. What you'll see in the video, like for this example, is Summa Health Systems. And I don't have their addresses. I do a blast to look over everything that I do. So none of what I did, I'm telling you not to copy it for a reason, because as you're looking at it right now, it is not ready to for the next upper stage. It still needs to be finalized. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't care. I want everyone to own themselves. I believe in that. So that's it. Moving forward.
They've been deleted. So I've completed this about 5 times now. Completed this form 5 times now. And it's being saved properly. Like they just literally make it disappear. But as you see, when I open up the blank, it has no healthcare in it. So yeah, let me show you something. I got to where I just started. Back on the telephone that I haven't got on they've been interfering with it for the last 8 days. I have not had internet on my phone. It won't allow it to work. It will not allow the internet on my phone to work. The only reason I'm doing this is to what's being done to me is an isolated matter. It's an isolated matter. Okay, so.
Okay. I'm going to try something real quick here to see if it works. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the content. Oh, over here, right now, you're seeing where it has, if there's a galaxy plugged in. My phone is not plugged in, and when I plug in my phone, they will not allow me to access the videos and photos on it. There's screenshots that I'm trying to get a hold of to add into this information. You know, some of the stuff is like basic. You know, it might be a definition. You know, or I'm not going that deep. But so let me show you something. And this is real, which means that I can't delete any of these files. You see, there's no option anywhere to delete any of this information. When I delete it in a folder, it still shows here. It's a problem. It's a way to hold up and eat up space. So let me show you something. Hold on. Okay. Here's the two homes that I have. There's no cord. Here's the cords for them. I don't have anything plugged into this device right now, but it's showing that I do. Also, I don't have any Galaxy phones right now. That's right. I haven't had a Galaxy since I had a Galaxy Note 3, and they sold that. What time? So, yeah, it's really, really invasive and tricky things taking place here. Like I said, when I complete something and save it, they clear it out, and I end up working about it. That's really part of the reason why I'm introducing this spreadsheet in the way that I am, because they haven't been messing with it. Part of why they haven't been messing with it is because I'm not working on it. Now, let me tell you something. When I go to the library to work on this is a two-part process. I have to create it, and I have to apply the changes. They're interfering with me applying the changes. They've been using my channel to support this information. The government has been using my channel to support this information. So if you see a video like panic missing evidence from 2017, and or you're told to watch that video specifically, because that's what they're doing. They're having agents do the work, and they'll show up and they'll make comments without having any recollection of what's taking place. So if you have no recollection that all this stuff regarding politics is taking place, you know, it supports that information. And sometimes they do it just to do it. You know, they'll show up and make comments for no reason. That's not a huge problem. Like I said, it's an isolated matter, so that's small in numbers as well. But, so this video, the one you're watching right now, that's the very first video that you'll see. It's the featured video. The second video that you'll see is what is gang stalking, and I honestly don't know if I'm going to be able to complete that video. If I don't, it's really unfortunate. I mean, and I'll get to it, you know, eventually, but it's just way too much being done, and I'm not even talking about how I'm being attacked remotely with science right now. I'm not even factoring that in. I'm just telling you what's being done as far as applications and devices go. So, uploads. When I'm making these changes, trying to apply these changes, it's taking me roughly an hour to make 4 changes. That's the type of interference that I'm experiencing. I still have uploads that I'm doing as well. Video uploads. I have a lot of content, you know, that I know. Matter of fact, let me show you what recently took place. You know that I have a lot of content. When I do an upload, I'm experiencing instances like upload times, and I'm the only one on the network. So this is what took place yesterday. I ended up taking, what I did was I taped the SD cards. I only have 2 of them on me now. That's a lot of information. One of those is 256 gigs. So that's a lot of detail, a lot of evidence of some of the things that have been taking place. It's now in storage. I put this in my storage unit yesterday. And it's taped to my gang stalking binder. See that? So, these videos, they're categorized. PP stands for Politics Protects Physics. Here is what the categories mean. I'm going to give you a moment to look that over. Something like this that I would normally be able to copy and paste into the spreadsheet. Things I've done in the past, I'm now unable to do. So I create a little key and insert it. I'm not able to do that now. So in Politics Protects Physics, you can imagine the type of things that you'll see, really reaching out to news stations, some encounters with doctors, this is constituents, just how these particular fields and positions of influence are in place to make sure information like this don't get out. And what I did was I began to mix some of my older content in. For those of you that just want to, watch videos, as they were uploaded, it's obvious that's kind of sort of the order that they're in. Sometimes they throw that out of whack on my channel too. Sometimes they don't want my feature video to show. They'll put another video in place or a recent featured video. So all that stuff, it's just, it's misleading, and it supports disinformation. It supports a suggestion that someone may be under. So when you see this little yellow indicator, it's an indicator that I have not uploaded. It's incomplete. So you won't be able to find that. And as you know, the neighbors stole, or what you don't know, like I said, this is an isolated matter. But it can be found on Facebook that the neighbors, videos surrounding what the neighbors did with the laptop that I ordered, stealing and smoking it up. So that's the indicator. Those aren't there. Something else, I have roughly 90-something videos surrounding this event, the situation, and different events that were taking place leading up to the city of Akron firing at the police department and the city hospital at St. Thomas.
The mayor's office as well.
Parallel reality, I have not completed that video. But to give you an idea of what it's like, you're looking at me now, it's like saying that what's here, there, is there. More extreme, it's like saying, like I'm in my apartment right now, like saying that I'm in South Carolina and someone else's place.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there.
something else. Well, I can't minimize that. So, something else about the parallel reality ordeal. Because all of our DNA is digital, they are able to corrupt the code. The problem is they cannot permanently corrupt my code. So, in the beginning of some of my videos, and it could have even been journal entries, but it's immaterial. I'm talking like 2017 time frame, when they kept making a statement. I was talking about them telling me that, making statements like, she's going to be on so many other people. What that meant was that they were going to be putting my expressions on other people, and contrarily putting their expressions on me. They were saying that she has to go through so many other people's stuff, which meant that they were going to be applying their dogma, their lifestyles to me. And that was the light that they were going to paint me in, so that people would treat and see me a particular kind of way.
This is not uploaded, but like I said, there's a thread on Facebook with information regarding some of the topics, but that's another one that has a lot of videos. You don't get to see how events pan out leading up to it. You just kind of get to see an overview of that situation. For example, there was an argument yesterday, a heated argument yesterday, after we were just advised pretty much stay away from one another. They came and they brought and dragged their trash in front of me.
Now you can imagine this is not by coincidence. These things are taking place. A lot of what you're going to see in this overview, it's for a reason. It's meant to show you how perceptions, like those videos, could shape a perception. There's a lot of missing parts. So the video, for example, of me asking him, not to speak to me, just say it's her. I think I left that out. I can't recall correctly right now, so I'm going to refrain from saying that. I recant that statement. But I just want to show you how these things can be used to paint, shape, and mold perceptions. One more thing. That's what the CIA is for, perception management. The other thing that I was going to say is that the conversation was, there's a reason that I handled that argument the way that I did. They were keeping me from saying anything that I would have said. They were keeping me from saying anything that I would have said regarding that situation. So when you look at those videos and you see some of the things that I said, you be able to realize that I didn't reference anything that I've ever said. They had all that blocked. It was all blocked. So the best I could do was try and tempt him to get his ass whooped. That was the most offensive thing that I could think to say.
But when I questioned her about it, she said that she was going to move everything. You can see this in videos on Facebook. She said she was going to move it. And it's been 5 weeks, and she ain't moved these, and they keep scooting on closer and closer into my area. They went from keeping their trash cans in a place where they did not have to see me at all to putting them, where they have to cross over and see me. It's just antagonizing. And what I'm not able to explain in this video is how this is being played out, or in I can't think of the word, or orchestrated third party. So I want to show you this argument real quick.
Okay, before I go into the argument, I want to tell you something. Every time that I get fixated on a particular body of work, the government does this. You know, like, I promise you, you have never seen anyone who's isolated and has nothing to do with anyone, like, end up in so much bullshit. Like, I don't bother anyone. And meanwhile, you know, they're telling me part of remote neural monitoring is probing. They want to see how I'll respond to the situation. So they're attacking me, telling me that they're going to do these things before they actually do it. And they've been getting a kick out of antagonizing me with trash cans. So, here's what took place yesterday.
And you'll have to refer to Facebook to see what takes place before that. And friends. Yeah, I did. Because you still haven't moved your stuff off his back and it's been 5 weeks. You told me you would move everything. That's not what we're talking about, Kelly. I'm just saying, it's been 5 weeks. Where do you want to move your shit? You quit moving it. This is our driveway. Go to the front door. Yes, we share a motherfucking driveway. We don't share a driveway. Backyard here, remember? You heard what the fuck I said. Who the fuck do you think you are, bitch? I got your bitch. You calling, bitch. Bitch. You ain't got shit. I ain't got no who? I think that stupid motherfucker said you ain't got no friends. Watch what happens today, the 30th. Again. What they did was they both had to take off. He left in the car and she actually left on foot, which she never does. And they thought I was going to call the cops. So right after that, in case I called the cops, they left. The last argument they called the cops on me. You ain't got no friends thing. Anyhow, they're he's obviously not high, but you can tell from the look on his face that he's back getting high. The whole friend statement, which you just ain't got the memo. Like, I don't need no motherfucking body for what I'm doing. I don't need no motherfucking body. Motherfuckers that can't stand on their own need friends.
Okay. So, that's a little tidbit about what's going on with this situation. This is another reason the changes that they've made within the neighborhood. They don't want me to get around to talking about this, how they've changed this situation. So, let's see. Give you a chance to look at these. Because like I said, it's a key. So if you are only interested in things that are associated with politics, you know, where I might have had an encounter with a doctor, a police officer, you know, something like that, this is where you find it. Evidence, EV, is evidence. If you're only interested in those things that can be associated with evidence, keeping in mind that I'm talking about hidden science, you know, hidden science under the assumption that it will now not be able to be ignored, which means that things that weren't acknowledged before will be acknowledged now, which also means it broadens the spectrum of evidence, what things are considered as evidence. So some of these things, you know, are pertaining to what's taking place. I'll give you an example. Something like blueberries, you know, they took the blueberries out my buggy, and this took place on more than one occasion. They didn't want me to have them. So this is just my reaction following what took place. But it's a form of evidence, you know, time and dated experiences that note when something took place. CC is cybercrimes. This is where you can find an example of some of the things they've been doing with devices and technology and that. This right here is really disturbing. This was like, I believe, a 20-something minute video. And after it uploaded, you know, I was watching it through. And then the next time that I checked, moments later, you know, they cropped that video down to like a couple seconds. And this is after it's been uploaded to YouTube. AC is activists. These are the things that I've done surrounding activism, drawing awareness, and telling. I also have a, real quick, there's 2017, like, references, or, and videos, too. I think I might have caught a short video, when I was doing a lot of stuff, like passing out flyers. I'm talking about really, really small flyers. I don't have any more of those. Putting them in, like, windshields and stuff like that in the Fairline area and also in the Canton area. So those are things that, like, you won't get to see anywhere that actually took place. And one more thing I should have noted that's really a part of politics. I'll just show this screen real quick. Like, because I mentioned in another video that you'll likely see, especially if you look into that situation with the neighbors on Facebook, you know, I had some things in motion, you know, and they just completely messed it all up. So that's where my stimulus check went. And I guess I'll show you these other files too while I'm at it. These are all the formal complaints that I've written. And of course you can imagine, like, this isn't a final once again, but now that I've put in the draft here, I really don't think, I mean, what's most important is the date and to whom it was written, and that's outlined, so I don't think I'm going to do anything else with this. and that's more complex. I would have to go into too many details to explain what's taking place in these three different tiers. It's pretty much a breakdown of the three social tiers. And demographics, the changes that, you know, the type of attacks they were making on me to make changes within those tiers.
A thread on Facebook. As far as the thread on Facebook, first of all, on the neighbor, that's like the fourth or fifth one down, and this one is right before it. A is attacks, the type of attacks that they're making on my physical body or the clone, and they manifest.
Physical attacks, fat injections, invading the lymphatic system is an absolute and complete problem. I weighed in at 210 today. And they were allowing me to feel them giving me fat injections in my jaw. They were creating a double chin. And this is all pictures that I can't even get out there because of the type of interference that they're causing with the internet. My face is just like chunky. When you look at something like, where is it? Change in appearance. There's another video similar to change in appearance. Let me play this out. Oh, there it is, manipulating appearance. You'll see the differences, all the extreme changes they were making to my face. And if you look far enough, you know, you'll see the changes that they were making to my body. I have a Facebook post that is outside of divine disclosure, and these references on appearance. There's a Facebook post from April. Hold on, I'm going to give you the exact date. Okay, I'm glad I checked. I was going to say April 12th, but it's April 26th, 2018. That has roughly 187 posts. Everything that you see on my Facebook page, the comments are supporting information or related information. No one can comment on my Facebook page. And I believe I made that change in 2018. So that's where you'll find more things on the body and my appearance and how they were attacking it. And these are things that are being denied by covert professionals. Oh. Okay, real quick, what just took place, I want to give you an example, because you can tell by now, when I originally did this video, my screen wasn't thrown off, you know, and not the screen, the time wasn't thrown off. Literally, I changed the settings so that everything would be pretty much accurate, you know, at the same time that it's taking place. So if I pointed at cerebral cortex A and said it'll line, and you wouldn't see the mouse pointing, me moving on to something else, and then it's saying cerebral cortex A. So that's one thing. I want to tell you what just happened. Because we exist in the mind in two places, things that are taking place is remotely are done in a way that you can't tell that they're being done. So when you see me make that change and say, oh, it's because it's like a hand was here. And I can only see the last half of the sentence, and I thought to myself, oh, it needs a date. I wasn't able to see the date that was in front of it. of the sentence or the title. That happens all the time. I've seen this happen to people my entire life and never could really make sense of what was taking place. And they're always instructed to start from the left when they read, but that's far beyond the problem. That's an exterior. That's a remote attack.
So you can imagine that these are videos that they are not showing.
About that time is that when you'll notice in some of my older videos, it has somewhat of a church feel to it, kind of like, and I'm not a church goer. I never have been. But during that time, I was in contact with a couple of churches, trying to see if they would back me on the political end. You get what I'm saying? Like, so knowing that I was going to be dealing with law enforcement and stuff like that in order to move against the government, I was just trying to see if any churches would get on board, and none of them would. Because me being who I am means that they can't be who they are, and you'll find all of y'all's pastors are reptiles. Like, that's the devil standing right in front of you. And that's one of the reasons why I never went to church. Like, when I was younger, I was into church. I'm going to go with my aunt because I thought it was fun. It was something to do on Sunday. Or I go with my grandmother. As I got older, I went every once in a while, but I was more concerned with, like, personal development, and I felt like having a personal relationship, and I'm like, that can be done on my own time. So whereas folks will go to church on Sunday and expect somebody to be a middleman, all week I'm studying. Like, I'm studying all kinds of stuff, and I'm trying to learn about matters of the spirit. I don't want to hear nothing about your message, and I don't want to hear too much about the Bible either. That's just what it's been. But there has been short periods of time where I've read into things, and seeing how they conflicted or contradicted themselves within the Bible. You know, I would never just completely denounce something as evil without knowing what I'm talking about. What else? There was something else that I wanted to say about that. Hold on. This is not what I was going to say, and it's actually kind of off the topic, but I think it's necessary to know. When you look into stories like Patmos or stories like Yakub and Yashmael, you know, it becomes obvious that even if you look into old philosophers, you know, old scientific scholars, it's apparent that the two evils, the two sides were in cahoots, you know, and that they've always known who one another were. You know, so you got this black guy that created the white race. That's the same for every race. Japanese, Chinese, Indian, you name it, they made it. These are genetic engineers. That's what a scientific scholar is, a genetic engineer. And now, within society, they've kind of depicted it so that it has different, it's an umbrella now. So you don't have to just be, so when you mention the word, it's like allegorical characters. When you mention the word scientific scholar, genetic engineer is not the only thing that comes to mind. But these evils, they have been known. They know that all this stuff is in place for them. They know that all this stuff is in place for them. There's something else that they're keeping me from saying right now. In the story of Yakub and Yashmael, they talk about how evil destroyed their planet. This isn't the first time this has been done. This is not the first time that this has been done. In some of my older videos, you hear them talk about how, you know, the Holy Spirit keeps coming back, how I keep coming back, how I keep manifesting through my bloodline, and how they're unable to do what they did in the past. So that whole evil to destroy my planet thing, it's like me finding out what was taking place, me finding out that my strand, my bloodline, my DNA is what causes non-human categories to look human. And they enslave us and put us in the lowest tier. And we still have influence. But it's called the original Eve for a reason. Because they have put our expression, some of our ways on other females, you got off-brands. And those are the ones that they want in positions of influence. Those are the ones that are posing as high. So, yeah, I'm noted as the fall of mankind because I have a problem with DNA theft. I got a problem with eugenics. I got a problem with the most genetically flawed race posing as the most educated. Posing as doing all these things that they are not able to do. It's an evil and it's a malicious trick. I have a problem with the Matrix. Wombs being manufactured. I got a problem with everything. So, yeah, those of you that are familiar with those stories, that's why more recently, like in the media, you know, Farrakhan, someone that knows everything that I'm telling you, is on the Jesus kick. It's on the Jesus kick. It's on the Jesus kick. Jesus is a lie. And hold on one sec. Jesus is a lie, and Jesus is under the assumption Jesus is associated with they are attacking me so bad right now. It's associated with the assumption of a sacrifice. So you hear me early on talking about them wanting a child. If I were to give birth, they kill me. The only thing that outranks me is what I produce. That's how it goes. Our egg is what matters, and dominion belongs to our offspring. So they need something that they could enslave. They need something that they could enslave. If you get us while we're young, and there's no one to tell us what I'm saying right now, you know what I'm saying? It's just, you eventually come around and you get to it, maybe, if they don't tear your ass up. When you see what they've done to the females in my bloodline, ain't no way. Ain't no motherfucking way.
And you'll see, like, if you look over on Facebook and like career posts, things like that, as time went on, as torture went on, you know, it got